All right. Got everything all working. Hopefully. Yes, looks like it is. And the mic is working. So that's good. Hello, welcome. Welcome Ayla, welcome Altison. It is cold. I'm not ready for this. Ugh. What do we got? What do we got today? Today we're going to work on trying to get the rest of this kit finished. We have the rest of the legs and the backpack, and then, I don't know. I don't usually build up all the accessories if I know I'm not going to use them. And I know I'm not going to use all of these, but I'll at least like get the shield done maybe. I don't know. I don't need to... This has like a very large selection of beam rifles and weapons, and I'm like, I don't understand why. But I guess good to have options if you decide that's what you want to do, right? Oh, good. I didn't check for focus yet, so should be good. All right. So yesterday we got this far. We have torso, arms, waist, upper legs, and feet. We now need to work on from the knees to the ankles. Then the side skirts, but those are, I think it's like 2 pieces each. And then the backpack, and he's done. But that's actually a lot more work than I thought it would be. The legs are a little more ornate than a usual high grade. Move him off to the side. And let's just get into it. Alright, yeah, so it's left leg, right leg. I feel like I want to do them both at the same time. It does save a significant amount of time to do that. I mean, I know we have time, but let's do it. Let's see what we need. There are not... Sorry. Blocking my chat. Not that many parts. I think we'll be alright. If we do it all. We got G, 8, and 9. Are these both? Yeah, okay, so these are both 8 and 9, so it's exactly the same parts. 8. Nine. God, I don't know if it's coming through as piercing as it is, but that the nippers going through that plastic is a horrible shriek sound. G14, do we? Oh, we do use those here. No, that's not. That's B28. Where do we use these? Let's check. They always have this nice guide in the very beginning to let you know if you don't use a part. So it's G2, E, F, where's G? Oh, G1, black, G2 is here. Okay, we don't use either of those, so this runner is done then. Good to know. Polycap 8. We haven't done the hands yet, but as I said yesterday, we'll do those later because every time... Ooh, these are kind of confusing. Every time I do the hands, I I do them on their own afterwards because I don't want to pull them apart just to put weapons in them or whatever. Nine and 9. B11. So I'm going to put them backwards so I know kind of what I'm doing. Polycap 8 and E1. We're almost getting to the end of these polycaps because we're almost getting to the end of the Sinanju, and I am excited because I'm sick of these things. Eight and 9. All right. E. E119. Where is it? 12, 2019. There we go. Nine. Now I need B12 and B6. These are still similar, I think. Yeah, they are. 12. And 6. Move all this down. We need a second row here. Next we need 10. And 9. Can't tell if that's wind or rain outside. Holy! How are you? Alright, that's everything for one leg. But then we gotta do the hip joint. Move the outside part. Alright. Getting ahead of myself here. Let's just get the parts we need first. I'm doing pretty well. Kind of had a long stretch of work because we're shutting down for a 4-day weekend with Thanksgiving tomorrow. And I was looking forward to having just a nice easy day, and then everyone decided like, oh, let's try and cram everything out the door before we shut down for a few days. So it was a chaotic end to the work week, but it's over with now, so. All right. Those are all the symmetrical parts, not all of them. We need E. We need a little thruster. E what? E20. 820. Yo, where'd you go? There it is. Did you? How'd it come out? Oh, crap. All right. Gotta organize this just so I remember what is what. That. All right. We got enough room. We're gonna do it. Big old ankle polycaps. Altison. What is that old guy? Oh, I can't click. I can see it, but I can't get the details because I'm not technically on Twitch. What is it? What am I looking at? E35 and 34. Make a Discord? Think I should make one? Maybe I'll do that. Because it does seem to be an easier way to send pictures than posting gigantic links in chat that disappear. But someone else's? Just jump in somebody else's and hijack the conversation. All right, hips are done. Those, I need 2 more parts from V. Getting comraded. Yeah, I don't know. Never struck me to make a Discord. Whoa, where'd that one go? Uh-oh. There it is. But a few people have mentioned that, specifically since I've been back here, because they all want to have a place to share links and stuff. All right. That was a lot of cutting crap out. But that's everything we need for the entirety of both legs. So we should have a good amount of work set for us. Can move this off and start cleaning up. I had to cave and put the heat on. I was trying to get to Thanksgiving without running any heat, but it's just been too cold the last few days. I'm like, I don't want to sit inside and be miserable. It probably would be, yeah, a lot of the same people. She does that at night. She'll be cold. I'll wake up and I'll feel her kind of stomping around on the bed. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she'll be cold. And it'll be like her trying to get in between my legs or lay down or huddle up against me. And I'm like, all right, here. Get you some blankets. Let's turn the heat on. That's when I feel bad, because me, I don't care. I'm just like, I'm cold. I can suck it up. But my dog can't be like, hey, idiot, you have heat. Turn it on. Some of these gates are large. Well, this one is a peg. We don't have to worry about that one because it's going to get covered up. Right? I'm not cold, so she's clearly not cold. And she's just staring at me. Yeah, I'm in some condos, and I'm just kind of cheap. Like, I know I had mentioned this before. Like, I grew up with a wood stove, and I always hated it because it was always like I was the young manual labor. My dad would have me help him cut wood, cut down trees, split all the wood. Every few weeks, go get truckloads of wood, bring it in the house, keep the stove going. Like, it was just annoying. But then I get my own place, and it has a different kind of heat, and I'm like, oh, I gotta pay for all this. I kind of like the constant heat source rather than just like shitty forced hot air. Because once the thermostat clicks to the temperature it's supposed to be, I'm like, now I'm cold again. So I try and ride it out as long as I can. However, just kind of like you said, siphoning heat from my neighbor, I am an end unit. So I got 3 walls that are exposed to the outside. I have a neighbor who kind of does the same thing. She doesn't like to put her heat on, but she's not an end unit, and she's like, "Oh, I forget. We kind of compare temperatures. I'm like, I had to cave. I had to put the heat on." She was like, "Oh, it was 62 inside," and I was like, "Yeah, it was like 57 in my condo," and I think it's just because I have so much more outside real estate cooling off everything. But if I had 2 neighbors, I would totally let them run their heating bill up, being like, why is it so cold all the time? All right, thankfully, these gates are in much better positions than some of the parts yesterday, so there's going to be a lot less sanding required. Like, normally they try and do a good job of hiding them where they can, but they did just a bad job on some of the arm parts and the butt flap parts. I don't know if they had a mold and they decided they didn't want to change the mold just for a couple parts, or really wanted to reuse something to save some money. I don't know, but it was disappointing. But these parts look markedly cleaner than yesterday's. Which is good, because I wanted to get this guy done today. Maybe get a couple bazookas built up to get him in that pose from the guide. That one's got an ugly mark. The water slides for this kit were all jacked up. Like the paper was warped. It was like they put it in the kit when it was wet or something. It was all totally wavy and like it had dried that way. I put it in between about 10 pounds of hardcover books, And it's been like that for a couple days. Hopefully it irons some of it out. I mean, getting it wet will help, but I don't know. Just kind of disappointing to see the crummy state of the water slides. Altazan, have you... I know you're a regular Mecha video game encyclopedia. Have you played Ring of Red on the PlayStation 2? Wow, you have not. Are you familiar with it? Oh, I gotcha. I uh I bought that game kind of unsure as to what it was back in 2001-ish, maybe. 2001, 2002. And it was interesting. I think it was Konami. I don't remember. I think Konami made it. But that was back in the day when I was still working like part time, and when I wanted other games, I'd like trade stuff in. I I didn't play the game enough to kind of appreciate it. I was just kind of like, this game's odd. And then something else came out that I wanted, and I think I ended up trading it in before like I really got sunk into it to enjoy it. And then I always thought I want to go back to that game at some time, but I never found it anywhere. I don't know if it would just didn't sell well because mecha is kind of a smaller genre anyway, and there's just not a lot of copies. But I looked for like two or three, maybe even more conventions that I would hit up, and dozens of booths at each convention, and I never saw it. I think I bought a copy off eBay a few months ago and have it in my backlog now, but I'm like, maybe that's something that I could play on here one day just because I don't remember any of it. I remember they were like not mecha, they were like, I mean, I guess they were mecha in the sense of like they were big mechanical machines, but it was almost like you were riding on them, like they were big war wagons, and it was like a tactical RPG, kind of like, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I just remember when you'd go into combat, it was very unique because you'd get like a first-person view of what your mech was looking at. You had like a reticule, and it would be like bouncing around and moving on the screen. And anytime you pushed X, whatever you were lined up with, you'd like fire a bullet at. So like, I don't know. It was very. It would kind of go like first person during combat screen, and you choose when you fired the guns and stuff. It was strange, different, I guess. Honestly, can't remember enough about it to say if it was good or bad, but I'll give it a go sometime. There were a lot of PlayStation 2 games that I was just like, what is this? And I bought it, and it was kind of weird. It was almost like it was almost like indie dev game stuff. Like, oh yeah, Valkyria Chronicles. That game was really fun for PS3. I guess it's similar to that in the sense where like that game you took over your character, Zombie Nazis. I don't know that one. Um, yeah, Valkyria Chronicles. You took over your character, but in like Ring of Red, it was like you didn't even really do that. You just it was almost like a light gun thing where like the target just moved around on the screen and you just pulled the trigger at when you wanted to hit certain parts of it, or maybe there was more to it than that. I kind of remember like some characters zoomed in a lot more than others and you could like snipe certain parts, and some guys you had to just fire volleys from a distance or something. I don't honestly, I don't remember. Oh, that's one that I remember the box art for. I think if it's the game I'm thinking of, but I didn't play the game, so that's probably why I didn't know it was zombie Nazis. Unless that's something completely different. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, I might be thinking of just the Darkness. That's a different game. That was like some guy with all these like shadow tentacles or something. I don't really remember. All right, all cleaned up. Let me go check the water slides. Hang on a sec. I don't even know where I shoved them. I put them in my stack of like strategy guides. I don't remember which one I lifted up and stuck them in there. I was like, yeah, I don't need them now, but all right. Let's see. This goes up. This is a really interesting take on building a leg. I don't think I've ever built a leg knee section like this, segmented. Not segmented, but like part segmented. Like you build the upper leg, you build just the knee. Obviously this goes in there like that, but it's kind of like, why is it? What's the gimmick? What's the reason that it's like that? I'm sure there'll be some sort of transforming, maneuvering, leg folds in, locks out type thing, but for right now, couldn't tell you. This goes in like that. Which side? Round side in, flat side in. Flat side goes in. Fuck. Where'd it go? There it is. I need to use my little tool. I was just complaining about that the other day. Or talking about how easy it makes things, and here I am trying not to use it. There we go. Go figure. The tool specifically for the job helps. Nine goes in there. This and this. This goes like that. Oh, okay. So that goes in there. This closes the whole thing up. Why is that all hollow though? It's very interesting. I don't get why that whole segment is empty. There's some good detail on there. We've got some grooves and then some edges we can trace. Oh, we got some more down there too. Let me center this so I can, there we go. Actually, I will do that after the fact when there's less clutter on the desk because I'm pushing too many parts around for now, so. Uh-oh, this polycap's pissing me off and it's making me think I may have to shave one of the corners down. Oh, there we go. We got it. Crisis averted. All right, that's all closed up. Come on. That's all closed up. What am I doing? Okay, this piece I put, it goes down. Facing down, okay. Oh, so it's a good thing I paused myself because that is not for panel lining. That is a gap. That would have been messy. All right. So we got that. Wait a minute. Did I do that right? Yeah, I did. Okay. Shove that in there. All closed up. All right. Most of the legs are done. Now we've got a lot less parts for me to drag my wrists through and make a mess out of. So, let's detail some of this. So we're going to get in here. That, and the same on the other side. So I almost panel lined that, but that's actually a peg from the inside pushing through a hole. And I could panel line it, but it's not going to be as dark as some of the other sections. So, yeah, you can see there. Each side has one capped off and one open hole. So I'm going to leave that for now. Ooh. Looks good. And let's clean it up some. I was thinking it would be nice to have a Discord in the sense of, or not so much a Discord, but a Discord it would work in the sense of having a place to post my backlog and like pictures of stuff, because generally I'll let anybody who hangs out on the stream kind of provide some input on what my kits they want to see me build up next or whatever. And I was doing it on Twitter now and then, but it could be easier because I'd have to usually provide pictures of everything or lists and keep it all up to date. And I was like, I could just take pictures of everything I have in my backlog and just be like, which corners? Oh, up here? Not so much because that's a gap up there. So I will try to usually put stuff on either like a flat surface, like where I get it in here, where I can get it in the corner. Here, if I just kind of... no, do you mean up here? Or right here? Maybe I could get something in there. Oh, the ink down here. Gotcha. Let me see. It's oddly shaped. It looks like I could get something on there. So I think it depends on the overall look of what I'm going for. Sometimes I'll do... No, I agree with you. It does help. I'll do it for the hell of it. Yeah. Let's just see what it looks like. It looks very different on here just because there's so much light. I can see the shadow, but I think the light directly overhead is kind of like washing it out for the camera. So at first I was like, oh, I can see it, but it's a little harder for you guys to see. I'll generally use the markers on like a high grade or a real grade, or sometimes an RE100, just because the size, it's a little easier to work with, just the like ultra fine tip. But depending on the I guess the complexity of like a master grade, if it's just a master grade, or if it's an older one, or if it's like a master grade Verka, I will use the pour type markers instead of the felt type, because it takes a lot longer, but I've been impressed with how much nicer it looks. It's almost like half the thickness of like just a regular felt tip. On joints like this, I agree. Master grade, those would be different plates, and you don't need to get in there. I mean, just like surface detail stuff. I'll try and use like a pour type on a master grade, just because like it looks so much crisper once you're actually like done cleaning it all up. But I don't want to. I don't want to get in the habit of like spending 25-30 minutes just panel lining some stuff on a high grade. Maybe for the actual Neo Zeong itself, depending on how fine the details are. I actually used these markers. I used the black one to completely color some parts on like the GP03 Dendrobium, the master grade, because they were supposed to be black, and they gave me like these shitty color correction stickers, but they were like a channel, and I was like, you know what, I can just fill in that whole channel with ink, and I did, and it looked so much better because it was like recessed and it wasn't crappy sticker. All right, legs are good. So now there's no real detailing on that, but there is a little bit of a nub. Not a nub, but a stress mark. Take care of that. Surprised at how much the gray marks up. Usually light colors don't do that. Get in there, damn it. All right, these are like the thruster doors. There's not too much. I think the only thing on these, oops, is that, and I can hit a little segment. Made a hell of a mess, but remember the first time I started using these, like, I didn't know you could clean them up as easy as you can. And like I'd screw up and I was just like, oh, I ruined it. And I just like didn't want to continue. I was like, I ruined the model. Look at that. That was, I think, the first kit I ever tried to panel line was a master grade, maybe like the 2.0 of Char's Zaku. And man, I didn't know what I was doing. It was not good. That has some really cool, like the piping all around, like the jawline and the waist. They did a really cool design with that, and how to like make how it's all segmented. But there's so many friggin' nub marks to clean up. I don't know if you've ever built one of those kits. The hosing, I guess, is what you'd call it. Alright, so now that opens to display the booster in the back. But we're probably going to keep that closed because he's going to be inside of his chariot. Chariot of the Gods. Isn't that a book about aliens and how they came to Earth to like start the human race or something? I hear it referred to a lot by a lot of UFO conspiracy theorists. So we got one more part on the front. And there's actually a good amount of not only panel lining, but cleaning up to do. Some of this crap is visible. Where's the other one? I like the other one so much more. This one. Oh, good, it's just one side. We'll call that the bad side, and we'll hopefully. Ooh, how's the other? Oh no, they're the same part. Crap. All right. Well. Let's see, so we'll use the black for the thrusters, and we'll get some gray around the armor plates. We'll try to get some gray around the armor plates. It's not really going in there. It's not much of a panel line. It's just kind of a dent that the marker slides right out of. But knowing that it slides out, if I go slow, I can ride that ridge well enough to get some detail on it. I've never tried the graphite trick. I know a lot of people use like 0.05 millimeter pencil lead to get in there. I could see that working if you just want to do some shading. Like if you want to use it as like a gray replacement, I could see that. But obviously black might be too dark, or you'd be putting too much lead on there. Graphite, whatever. Alright, let's get these little front thruster intake things. came out of the groove. Although, as I said before, you can't really see because there's so much friggin' light and it kind of washes it out. Alright, I'm gonna do this a little off camera just because I want a better angle. There we go. Take just enough out so that we can see the horizontal lines in there, but not enough that it lightens it back out. So it's kind of cool, adds a little bit of depth to that. And I have a feeling it's going to get covered up anyway, but maybe, oh yeah, it goes under here. So it's not really covered up, but it's not prominently displayed either. Get in there. What's wrong with you? There we go. All right. The lower legs are done. Now we've got some armor that goes on the outside of each accompanying leg. But that's only 3 pieces. So first of all, let's get these. No, we're going to panel line those, so let's hold off on those as well. So it's just these 3 parts, but there's a lot of detail on there. Come here. So on vents and stuff, I usually like to put black in between to kind of help differentiate some shading on the vents. And you always want to go, like I said, kind of with the grain, because if I go against the grain this way, I'm just scooping it out. And depending on the way you push, you can get some different shading effects. Like if I go back and forth, I'll get more of a faded out effect. Whereas if I keep everything going in one direction, you'll usually get more of like a uniform shading, like natural shadow look. Alright, now we got these 2 things left. The hell are these things? Just extra armor, I guess? So what do we want to do? I'll hit those 2. Hit the pit there and there. We just trace this and then maybe trace. Oh, there's some on the side there, and then maybe trace that. There's a good amount on this piece. Screwed up a couple times, it's alright.
go all the way up. We did some excess paneling on the legs, so this should match. And down here, I'll just kind of trace that. Trace. Oops.
All right. What we got? Almost an hour. I think we'll knock this out because we're pretty much done with the legs after this. All right. So for these, we push in this little pivot part, and then we slap on this back vent piece to keep that in. Looks pretty good. Wait, does it go up or down? It goes up. All right, leg armor is done. So now I want to get a little bit of detail on these hip joints.
Because they're begging for it. There's so much frickin' grooved plastic there. We won't be able to see any of this, will we? It's probably completely covered. I'll at least do one and then see how it fits in there, and if it's completely covered, we don't need to panel line stuff that we're never going to see. I think the front we'll see. But no, because the back butt flap is going to completely cover all of it. We'll see a little of the front, so I'll do the front of the other side.
All right. That looks. Oh no, we got be 2 and 3. 2 and 3. We got side skirts. All right. So I got that cool scar. Not even scar, just scratch on my hand. And I was trying to figure out how the hell I did that. Because it is relatively sore. So it's something I did recently, but I'm like, what did I do? Realized it was from putting up my fake Christmas tree. Like reaching my hand in between the branches to like try and set something straight. I pushed it in and one of the branches just, because they're fake, they're wire, just pushed right into my hand. Real smooth. So if you've ever used a pair of God hands, there's certainly like sweet spots for where you want to be cutting stuff based on the thickness, which I don't know if it makes any sense, but there's definitely a feel to it. Like if I pushed this nub all the way in the back and cut with like further back here, it's not as clean and it does so much more damage because it's much more pinching. If you get it in like the first third of the blade right there, it's so much cleaner to take that off. I think it's just the leverage of like, because if it's closer to the hinge, there's more torque and it's more inclined to pinch the plastic rather than shear through the plastic. But you can almost feel like the resistance just because if it's really deep in there like that, it's a little tougher to squeeze versus like right there, same amount of pressure snips it right off. I realize it's how leverage works, but you can definitely get a feel for like, ooh, that's not going to be a good cut. That's going to leave the piece chunked up. And you don't want to chunk your pieces up. All right. I'll put a little gray on there.
Yeah, okay, that's actually a pit.
All right. We are done with the Gundam. Not his backpack. We still got the backpack, but the Gundam itself is all done. So now we gotta look. That's the, okay, so this is the outside right leg. There's where the armor kind of slaps on. That fits in there. Yo, come on, come on, come on, come on. Hip joint. And the foot. That's a lot of plastic. The weight of this added up significantly. I mean, it's not a real lot, but just for a normal hollow high grade, the weight kind of added up. All right. So the legs, the waist, side skirt, arms, torso. Boom. What's a backpack have? Not too many parts. Not too many parts. Why is that so crooked? Oh, I guess it's just a center pivot, huh? That's kind of lame. Be nice if there was a second point of interaction, so it locked it down. But whatever. Maybe some poses you want to turn it a little bit more. I don't know. Let's not get ahead of ourselves and assemble it all up yet. We got the backpack to knock out, and then we're officially done with the Sinanju. But we do have a lot more to go after that. So 6 and 7. Two thrusters, yes. Now this crappy blue, C4 and C1. It's not actually the color, it's the plastic that's crappy, because the plastic is brittle, which causes the stress. All right, so that's the center hub for the backpack. Then we've got a bunch of fuel tanks, and then left and right hubs on the sides of the backpack. fuel tank. So this part is done with the exception of the hands. Same with this, although there's not four. I mean, there might be four hands, but we're only going to use two. So one of these we're done with, but we're going to save it for now. So there is the center hub of the backpack, and we're going to need E. 21 and 22. Ooh, that's some thick plastic that does not want to cut very well, even with the God hands. That's bad when the plastic is that chunky. Piece 12. One for each. E, 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 C. All right, so it's just E and C to finish this out. Two for each. And then we get the little, this is what we're looking for. The connector from the center hub to the side. That runner is done. That 16, 11, 12, and 3. Sixteen. 11. Come on. Get out of there. 12 and 3. We use the last little bit of our foil. And now we are well and truly done cutting out parts for the Sinanju. I have had somebody ask me, what is that you're doing when I'm cutting the nubs off stuff? It's essentially like, that's where I cut it off the runner, and now I have to cut that nub off. And then when I do cut the nub off, it's like, well, what do you do with it? And I have just a shot glass that I throw them all in. Because I realized for years, like I used to cut them off and just like let them fall where they landed, or they'd be stuck in the clippers and I'd just kind of blow them out and they'd be wherever, and then they'd be like all over my table or all over the floor or all over my forearm because I laid down on one, or just any sort of variety of mess. And when you're working on a kit where every single part has like a minimum of like 3 of these gates, nubs that you got to cut off the gate, and I'm like, if I do one model kit, there's probably 500 nubs, 600 nubs that are just around my room that I just brush off the floor or whatever. So I started, just throwing them into something so that I could either dump it out or not make a huge, gigantic mess all over my desk. But it has the interesting side effect of, like, when you look at the cross section of this little plastic shot glass, you can tell which kits you were working on just based on the color of nubs. Like when it was all purple and green, it was like, oh, I was working on the Ava Unit 1, clearly, because I can't really turn this, but it's like those sand sculptures where you pour the different colored sand and make layers. Underneath all of this is gold and red. Oh, you can kind of see it. Gold and red from when I was doing the Akatsuki. Now it's all light gray and dark gray. But everybody develops their own quirks over time. I used to make sanding sticks because I hated buying them, so I'd buy like different grit sandpaper and then like popsicle sticks and double-sided tape, and like tape the popsicle stick to the sandpaper and then trim it and cut it out and stuff. Like, it's just like, I don't want to buy sanding sticks. I can make my own. And they were so janky and haphazard. But I mean, obviously now I have the tempered glass files. I don't need to do stuff like that, but a lot of quirky, funny stuff you find yourself doing for your hobbies. Now I just spend money and buy expensive things rather than homemade things. Like, instead of a $65 pair of God hands, I used to use like fingernail clippers on the Gundam Wing non-grades, just because I'm like, oh, how do I get this off? When I first modeled as a kid, like, I didn't know you had to cut the plastic. I would just like push the part until it broke off. That's probably why my dad was like, we should work on this hobby together because you don't know what the hell you're doing. I think they came out with like entry grade nippers and stuff now. Like, they work well enough for the entry grade kits, and they're blunt enough that you can give them to a kid without fear of like seriously bodily harm. Like with this, kid could take his finger off if he really gave it a good pinch. But yeah, I saw something. They were like rounded and very blunt, like entry grade nippers. now I've got a 4-day weekend coming up. And Saturday, we'll definitely be building the Zeong, Neo Zeong itself. Finally, now that our inception, the pilot is in the mobile suit, and the mobile suit will be the pilot of the mobile armor. But we're finally getting to the good stuff. I'm interested to see how quick that goes together, because the parts are enormous and they're hollow, and it seems like it should be a quick build. However, there are so many of them that I don't know how long it's going to take. And it is all fully water slides, so it's going to be interesting to see how long that takes and how much level of detail there is, because some of the parts are just big smooth pieces of plastic, and like you don't even panel line them. And I've found like working clear kits, or when you're not panel lining, not doing that step saves so much time. I did a clear kit, clear real grade Exia Trans Am or something. The whole thing, it looked like it was made out of Jolly Ranchers. It was like clear pink, and it looked really appetizing. I was like, this feels like it should taste like a strawberry watermelon. But strawberry Jolly Rancher, or watermelon, because it was light and dark pink. But you don't panel line that, and you don't like detail it. And there were no decals, and I was just like, wow, that was like 50% of my build time, just like cleaning up and detailing parts, and I don't have to do that on this kit anywhere. It's kind of the same with the Akatsuki Gundam, although I screwed that up. I tried panel lining a little bit, and it didn't come out that well, and I was like, well, I should be able to clean that up, right? And you cannot clean that up. So I ruined it. And it's one of those things that I look at, and my eye looks right at it, and I'm like, wow, way to go, idiot, you ruined it. But no one else will see it. Like, if I didn't explicitly point out like where I ruined it, no one would find it. But it's the only part I look at, because I'm an idiot. Not a fan of nub marks on round surfaces, but thankfully this is the soft plastic that even with your fingernail you can probably scratch that out. I don't even know if he wears the backpack when he goes inside the mobile armor. I'm just building it up for like a photo op to show him completely built. Him. As if he has a gender. To show it, the mobile suit, completely built. I guess the pilot inside is a him, but whatever. Four parts left. Let's do this. Oh, come on. Why did that freaking horrible gate placing on blue plastic. That looks so bad. Alright, we're going to see how well we can clean this up without stressing it. So we want to use the tip and just one smooth. Look at that. Awful. Even with the God hands. Hang on, I'll show you in a second. Ugh. Even with the God hands, look how that's stressed. God awful. Alright. That side's much the same. And that right there is the downfalls of brittle, dark colored plastic, because you're going to get crap like that every single time you cut the nubs off. But the good thing is, only 2 of those are going to be visible from the outside, and they might. Oh my God! Look at the size of that. That's why it's. Oh God! Only 2 of them are going to be visible, and they might not even be visible because it'll be inside the armor, and I don't know if he wears the backpack inside the armor. I feel like he doesn't. So whatever. It'll be there for the photo op at least. All right. Let's see here. All right. So these just slap together. And we pop a couple thrusters on here. Wow. That went on way too smooth. That's not good. Why? Alright, that one had a bit more resistance. Why is that so smooth? Let me try a different one. Alright, that's tighter. What is wrong with that one? I may have to put a spot of glue on that one. That cleaned up well. I've been surprised every time I've cleaned up this. I've complained a lot about it for being brittle and marking up, but it's not the worst I've ever used. Some plastics, more red I think than anything else, but for some reason you can like sand on it for 15 minutes and it won't like clean anything up. What the hell? How does this? Oh, alright. Oh, so there is some. Alright. There's some panel lining on there. You can see the white easily, not even zoomed in. Let's see how clean we can get it. You can still see some of it. Let's give it a second go. There we go. Not today, carpet monster. Alright, so this is the center hub of the backpack. That's what plugs right into his back. And then we've got the two tanks, and everything else is auxiliary to that. Now, let's see if that janky ass thruster stays on these parts. Nope, still slips and slides. I am going to hit that with a little bit of... Ooh, that one slides too. I'm going to have to hit two of them with some glue. Not much, just enough to keep them from dropping off. Ooh, man. I'm going to be high in about 10 minutes. Open a window. All right. And they're glued up. Look at how bad that is. Look at how bad that is. They're super thick parts. That's why... God damn it. Alright. We're going to have to put in some work to clean these up. Let's move some of this out of the way. Do this off camera just so I can get enough torque to try and sand down. This is the bad one. Well, comparatively, this one is worse than the other ones. They're both bad. So if I can get this one looking better than the other one, you know we made some progress. Where's the bigger file? That's not biting. Why is it not biting? here's round one. Pass one, whatever you want to call it. Significantly smaller, but still ugly as hell. Even smaller still. I'm getting that plastic off there. That one's still pretty bad, but this is the visible one because this is going to be on the outside. So, let me use both of them. I'll hit them. I feel like we're making progress this time. Although now I can still see it, but let's balance it out, see what we got. Better. Not great. Alright, I'm going to give it one more pass. And then if we can't get rid of that white spot completely, I'm going to show you a completely half-assed cover-up trick that I do sometimes. I try and reserve it for high grades, which this is. And as I said, this is a part that I don't think he's even going to be wearing, but it's the laziest of lazy. I don't have the matching paint. I can't cover that up. I do something super lazy. Actually, I think we got it. I think we might have sanded it out finally. We still got some. All right. So this is the super, super lazy way of doing it. I just take black and I just put black ink literally right on the white. And yeah, that looks horrible, right? Well, this glare. But it's like, yeah, that doesn't look right, does it? Well, I don't need it to. I take a Q-tip and I fade it and I spread it around. And I kind of do that. And like I said, with this like very high megapixel camera pointing directly at it, we'll notice that. But I just do that to kind of like get rid of the white spot, because white on a dark color, it draws your attention. It's like a spot. Black clearly doesn't fully mask it, but it gets rid of drawing your eye right to that spot. You don't see it as much. It's by no means perfect, but like I said, that's kind of what I reserve for like a high grade, when I'm like, I'm not going to try and spot match some paint to cover up a tiny little piece. A master grade, I wouldn't go with that method, but dark plastic on a high grade, like in person, me looking at it, I can see it a lot less than with direct light shining right into a camera. So like if I photographed it, I'd turn down the settings, you wouldn't even notice it. But comparatively, is it great? No, it looks a lot better than this, but so now we take this. This one fits on here. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh wow, this is super hollow. I'm used to the real grade Sinanju where there's actually like guts to this. This is literally just empty. Okay. But let me check something real quick because, as I said, we might not even need to do this because I don't think he wears the backpack. Let's check. Why did that move? Why does that move so much? Alright, so when we pop him inside... No, he does have the backpack on. Okay. That's interesting. I didn't think he wore his backpack when he was inside, so... Good to know. How the hell does that go on? Oh, like that. Okay. That doesn't look right. That does not look right. Oh, because that's not closed. There we go. That's why it didn't look right, because it wasn't right. I'm nervous to put too much pressure on that, because it's probably going to snap. Get in there. All right. So this goes on one side. This goes on the other. So there's the backpack. I believe the instructions did say we take the fuel boosters off, like 100%. Let's check. Yeah, so it's saying we pull these out. So I'm going to make them just to say we made them, but they don't go on the final kit.
And my tweezers. Oh my gosh, I thought they were strips that wrapped around. They're so friggin' tiny. That looks so bad. Alright. I thought it was one strip that wrapped all the way around, but it's 4 segments. Ugh. Three more. And then this whole friggin' sheet of stickers can go in the trash. Actually, there's one more, and it goes on the shield. But after that, then this whole friggin' sheet of stickers can go in the trash. There we go. And the shield is what? 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces? That's not a lot of pieces for a shield. Let's get it. It is more than 4 pieces. Oh, that's probably later to show how it attaches. Gotcha. I'll cut it out for now in preparation. Another runner done. I don't know if you guys could hear. I just heard my neighbor pull home or pull in. Dude's had like a hole in his muffler that gets bigger every day. I don't know how you can drive a car like that. It drives me nuts just listening to him drive by. Like, imagine sitting in that thing every day, just stepping on the gas, and all you can hear is like, wow. Just heard him putter by. So I know his work schedule just because I get to hear loud ass busted exhaust as he comes and goes. All right. So this is an incredibly easy shield. We just take the back, push this piece in. Oh wait, we trim off all the nubs because we forgot this one right here. I'm blaming all you guys. You didn't call me out on it. We all failed quality control. Half a nub still left. Now this goes on here. That's a pretty clean shield. I like the simplicity of it. Wait, that's not even in there. Go in there. Shield's done. That's the little adapter to put the shield on the forearm. And there we go. So, now, gotta build this boy up. I am going to pop it all together just to make sure it all fits, but probably gonna pull it apart eventually so that I can water slide the kit. But for now, we're just doing our dry fit. So we get waist section. Normally, so I like to build everything up on its own because I would rather like try and pose something as I'm putting it together. Like if I was going to do some sort of aerial pose, I'd try and figure out like how I wanted the legs so I could manipulate the leg and then like snap it on rather than like, you know, straight T-pose, put it together and then try and bend it to look a little less stiff and stuff like that. But this guy's going to be riding inside the armor, so I don't like, we don't need anything super fancy as far as like a pose. But just for some pictures that I'm going to take later to say like, hey, this is what we've done thus far. There's the typical the little hardo S pose where like it's like a slight S bend to the curve. Knees slightly bent. Head down. I'm sure if you've seen any Gundam kit, you've probably seen somebody posed in that little S pose position. We're gonna do that for now, just for some pictures, but monstrous butt flap. Nice and flush and square. He's a little bit turned though. Slightly turn the toes out. So it's nothing special. I mean, unfortunately, you guys are viewing it only from a vertical pose, so it does look a little different, but just kind of a legs wider than the shoulders, slightly like 15 degrees on the toes. Like you can see they're kind of, one's pointed this way, one's pointed that way, so they're not, no, one is more like that. A little more of a natural stance, because you're not just going to stand with your toes directly rigid in front of you. So we get one arm on, the other arm on. Now let's make sure this shield snaps onto the there we go. Nice easy connection. One of the simplest and yet dumbest things, simplest things to fix, dumbest thing to do when you're attaching the waist. I usually like pose up the legs first, and then I'll like, okay, take the waist and like push it down, but like all that does is crush the knee and the hip joints that I just spent all that time posing. So hold it by the waist, so when you're snapping, you're leaving the legs alone. The pressure's just between the waist and the upper sections, and you're connecting them rather than smushing down everything that you just spent all that time posing. Then we get the fuel tanks in there. I don't know what kind of angle this is at. He does look funny with no hands though, but as I said, there's a reason for that. Push these down a little bit. Make them semi-symmetrical. And there we go. And you kind of tip the chin down a little bit, bend the waist forward. And now he's in his little edgy Gundam stance. And you guys can't see anything because it's vertical. So there we go. He's a little floppy, and that's mostly due to the poly caps, but like I said, no hands yet.
we're going to attach the hands to the weapons and put them all in once, so we don't have to put the hands in, take them out, because that's what causes the hands and the wrist joints to fail. And there we have it. Yeah, those fuel tanks are not symmetrical. There's like too many moving joints. There's like 3 joints there. Three different axes to try and balance it on. Thankfully, they just detach and they're not part of it, so we don't have to worry about being too clean with them. And there we go. Not a bad build overall. I had never built a high grade Sinanju. I built the real grade. This high grade is infinitely better than the real grade. The real grade is one of the early real grades, and it suffers from what is colloquially known as early real grade syndrome, where they did too much crap with it, and they tried to really drive home that like inner frame, pre-molded inner frame gimmick, and it doesn't support. They tried to basically make one skeleton that was like a one size fits all for no matter what kit you were building, you'd use this internal skeleton, and it worked great for the first kit that they did it for. And then they tried, it was like all 3D printed, and it was, you cut it off the runners, and it was like a whole arm section already built, all the hips and joints. You basically had, you just put armor on it and detailed it up, and it was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And they sucked. The 3D printed plastic would like wear out over time, and you couldn't correct it, like you couldn't tighten it up. The weight of the model on the kit would just like break it apart. The Sinanju itself just fell to pieces. Like the shoulder joint, it was maddening. The shoulder and the arms were horrible. Backpack was pretty good. The legs were good, but the side armor was very floppy. I built that kit, and I had just like a horrible time with it, and it felt like anytime I touched it, like 4 more parts would fall off of it, and I'm just like, I gotta glue all this. Then I watched a Gundam review, like a kit review from Mecha Gaikatsu, and he like, I think at one point he swore at the kit and threw it off his table and like smashed it against a wall because he was so frustrated at it. And I was like, it's not just me. This kit sucks. There we go. So there's our boy. Can we zoom in? Yeah, we can zoom in a little bit. Not a bad overall build. I'm shocked because most high grades are little. This is big for a high grade. This is kind of like the size of the F91 master grade, which is a small master grade. And we're going to have to fit this entire thing inside that entire thing, which is wild to me. But we're doing it. I don't know what I want to do for like accessories or posing or anything like that. So for now, like, because I don't even really know how he closes up. As I said before, there's a picture of him holding the double bazookas in there. We could do something like that. He's holding the beam glaive. I don't really know what I want to do. But for now, I think I'm okay with just leaving it. And this thing is so big, because if you like, yeah, this is going to be a big boy. I don't really want to get into it now. I was surprised we finished up. Let's build. Ooh, wrong way. Let's build up some weapons, just to kill a little bit of time for the rest of the stream.
Then we'll have like a selection of stuff, and maybe if somebody has a preference, we can put something in their hands. So what do we have? We've got beam bazookas, we've got beam rifles. I see this plastic here. This plastic is from the high new, and I don't know why it's in this kit. Let's see if it's just leftover parts, because we may be done with that runner if that's the case. Yep. So they've got X's through them, so we don't use either of those parts. Because I'm like, that's part of like the high new Gundam. Why do we have like the beam rifle for that here? Probably just because other parts that we used. So we're done with that. These, the only parts we have, like you said, are the hands. And now these are all the weapons. We've got beam rifles, beam glaives, hand parts. There's a lot of hands, gosh. I don't know what these are. They're like butt flap parts, but we didn't use them. They've got to be parts that we're throwing out, right? Yeah, most of these. Holy cow, so this whole runner we throw out with the exception of the beam rifle. Like, so this must be all parts from the regular Sinanju or something. And the only thing they want is like the beam rifle, but we're not going to build those. Let's give them the double bazooka. Oh, wait a minute. I'm building the collapsed version. That's not what I want. I want the elongated version. $17 and $18. 17. Gosh, that's a lot of parts. 10. 10 and 14. 10. 7 and 13. 9, 12, and 11. God damn. Why is this bazooka so involved? We put 8 and 4 on afterwards. 8. We need 11. 12. 4. 2 and 5. What is that? 3. Where's 3 go? Where's 3? We don't use 3? I don't know. Feels like we should. But what do I know? hate nubs on curved surfaces. You gotta find like the flat way to cut with the curve so you don't take off all kinds of plastic that you don't need to. That's mostly why I started cutting everything out and then cutting the nubs off, because I knew some people just like, they cut right up against the part right from the runner, and I'm like, I would so much rather cut the part out, and now I'm holding it and I can turn it, I can twist it, I can figure out the best way to cut and do a better job, I think, rather than holding this entire thing and like trying to turn it and get the right angle. It's just easier for me to spin the small part around. But I'm happy we're finished with this, because at the end of the day, this is just a high-grade Sinanju. There's nothing special about this kit, and I would not have been excited to be building this up had it not been part of the Neo Zeong. Because that's really what I dropped the cash on, and really what I was like, hell yeah, we're going to build this thing up. So, tomorrow is Easter. Easter, what the hell is wrong with me? Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. I was thinking about how I stopped streaming in April, and for some reason I said April, Easter. Tomorrow is not Easter. No matter how many times I say that. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, so I won't be streaming. I'm not streaming on Friday, because I never usually do that. But we will be back Saturday. And that is when we're going to start building the rest of the massive bulk of that kit in the box. What we're all here to see. I mean, maybe some people were interested in the Sinanju, but yeah. Could have bought that for $25 if that's all I wanted to do. God, there's so many parts to this. I'm going to have to build a second one? put out a pre-order today for 9-ball Seraph because they're doing a new run on those kits. So that was exciting. And then I realized it has a shipping date of like summer 2024. So it'll be 6 to 8 months before the kit actually gets here. But I will at least have a brand spanking new 9-ball Seraph kit that I can put together. If we're still doing build streams by then. I can imagine I probably will be, but who knows? You know. But that'll be fun. I have never built any of the Armored Core kits because they are so friggin' expensive because they all sold out a long time ago. Because Armored Core is a forgotten franchise. Well, it was. And unfortunately for me, I don't like Armored Core 4. That whole generation can go to hell. And that was the one that got a lot of the popularity. So it gets all the model kits and it gets everybody being like, ooh, white glint. Whatever. I don't need any of that crap. So I'm definitely not getting the white glint model. I have the 9-ball Seraph from, what's the first one that's from? Master of Arena, right? And the one from, I think, Armored Core 2? Or, I don't even know. It's like the old gen. It's either Armored Core 2 or... I think it's a Nexus kit, so that's got to be Armored Core 3. I think it's Nexus. I'm not sure. I'll have to check. It says what it's from, but I just can't remember off the top of my head. But the old school Armored Core. The Armored Core that I grew up enjoying. Not the crap when it went to Armored Core 4 and they were like, speed. Let's ruin it. That was one thing. So I played 4 back in like 2006, 7? I don't even remember when 4 came out. And I didn't like it. And I knew I didn't really give it the time it necessitated. Like, I should have spent more time with it, but I didn't. And I kind of wanted to, like, give it another chance. So last year when I was playing, like, the whole Armored Core, the full series playthrough, I was kind of excited when I got around to 4. I was like, you know, I'm looking at this with a new light. Maybe I got an open mind. Maybe it's not as bad as I remember. Because back then, I didn't like it for what it wasn't. Like, I wanted more Armored Core that I remember. And it was not that. So I was kind of like, I don't like you. But I didn't know if that was fair. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. Like, I know it's not Armored Core. I don't have those expectations anymore. And I couldn't do it. It still sucked just as much. Like, it's not good. I don't know. Combination of a lot of stuff. I don't like the garage. I don't like the interface. I don't like the shop. Like, you can't tell if it's a part you own or if, like, buying it will purchase it for you. Or I'm like, well, why is it this convoluted? Like, speaking of convoluted, what the hell is this bazooka? Hey, we're going pretty good. I just about finished everything up. I'm fumbling my way through this somewhat awkward of a bazooka here, but how does this even... Does it rest on the top? Oh, okay, so it kind of... No. Now that goes up here. Okay. Wow, I was off. Alright. That does not look right. This looks so crappy and haphazardly. Like, what? What the hell did I build? But that's how they look. That's... I don't get it. Like... Is that the camera? I don't know. Like, look at this. This doesn't look right. It looks like there's parts missing and... Oh, come on, you gonna zoom out again? Yeah, you are. It's like all hollow, like it... But it's telling me that's how it goes together. And like this thing just is on the side. I don't get it. But that's what that thing looks like. Just some janky weird plastic that hangs off the side, and I don't know. It's probably something to do with the way the actual Sinanju looks. And not anything to do with this kit, but maybe it like hooks onto the backpack or something. Let's flip through and see. Yeah, this doesn't even show instructions on how to like hang the bazookas anywhere, because they don't expect you to, because you didn't buy it for that little guy, you bought it for the big guy. So, oh well. I just wanted to whip one up to say we got it done, and it's confusing and ugly. It feels like this should be like folded up, right? Or maybe this is just part of the backpack that holds it and it comes off. No, because the whole thing just shattered. This feels more correct than any of this crap. Whatever. I didn't buy this kit for the bazooka. I bought it for the armor. And with that, I am going to wrap up my stream for now. So cooks. As a quick glimpse, here's the guy with a little oh, his backpack came off. Well, I took it off, but... So here's our finished product. I still have to put the water slides on him, but I'm probably going to do that off stream just because that's a whole lot of tedium. But he's mostly done. I am going to detail him up a little bit, just the parts that we can see. There's not a whole lot of reason. We can see from like the front skirt down, the legs are gone. We can see the torso, the arms, and the shoulders. That's pretty much what I'll put the details on. Otherwise, we're done with our meta pilot, and then we're on to the rest of the monstrous kit itself. So as I was saying before, I'm going to be off on Thursday and Friday, But Saturday we're going to be back, and we're going to finally be getting into the gigantic mobile armor itself. And we'll build that all up. I don't know how long this is going to take me. It seems like it's going to go quick because there's every step is like 2 parts. But there could be a lot of detailing. I do kind of want to go above and beyond when I'm doing detailing on this because I'm only going to build it once. Like if there's panel lining, I want to hit every area I can. I want to make sure it really pops because I'm only going to build this once. And it's probably going to go right up there so you can see it on every single one of my streams. But we're going to take our time with it, but it still feels like it's going to go quick because I built the the Nightingale, and that was really hollow too. It was just lots of like hollow plastic, and it was a big kit, but you put it together and you're like, oh, there's nothing to this. And I have some feeling that parts of this will go that way, but not the whole thing. I feel like there's a lot more detail in the shoulders. There's like the arms with the mega beam cannons. I think there's 6 arms total for this, and there's something that goes on with the shoulders because I know that big ring of light attaches to that. I don't have the parts, but I know the parts to attach it all are on there, so we'll get to it. We'll do it all up on stream, and hopefully you guys can hang out and watch me do it. Thank you to everybody who watched, chatted, lurked on either Twitch or on YouTube now, because I saw I have people on both, which is cool. I don't really know how the YouTube side is going, but I do like the fact that everything is going up there as a permanent VOD. So if you did miss parts of the stream and you want to see how we did putting all this together, you can check out the YouTube. That goes, the YouTube channel streams live and then it saves instantly. So you can catch up on the parts you missed with the VODs there. And otherwise, hope you guys, if you're celebrating Thanksgiving tomorrow, hope you have a nice Thanksgiving. If you're not, hope you have a nice Thursday. And I will see you guys Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Or I guess for you guys in the UK, that'd be 8 o'clock your time. So I will see you then. Have a good night.